in case you're going to. Again, welcome to this session for the very first event for the AWS IML user group, Kenya in 2026. And this year we are kicking off with the reInvent 2025 reCap AIML edition, the first of its kind in Africa as an AIML edition. And we are honored to be having amazing speakers, three amazing speakers in Rosius, Ndimofor, who is an AWS serverless hero, and also the founder and creator of Educloud Academy. We are having Effie Njoki, who is a cloud solutions architect, also specializing with DevOps, and Akaeze Kosi, who is also a cloud engineer. And also the other beautiful part is that Effie and Akaeze also had this amazing opportunity to attend reInvent 2025 in person, and they'll be sharing with us their experiences. And before I invite them to come and share all the goodies that they got from reInvent 2025, I'll start us off with a bit of intro on what reInvent is all about, and then we can get on to their part, because definitely I'm also so eager. I've been waiting for this more than I think even the attendees, because getting to that opportunity where you get to hear firsthand from those who have attended the reInvent makes it all the more awesome. Again, we are live, so please do share in the different groups. I don't have the capacity to go into the other groups and invite and remind people. So if you can just jump onto your whichever group that you're in or area, your sphere of influence, and invite someone else to come and partake of this, because it's going to be an amazing session. Okay, so let's get right on to this. So this is the community edition of reInvent Recap. What happens is, after AWS reInvent takes place in Las Vegas, which the last date happened between December 1st and 5th of 2025, is different communities and also AWS itself organize what we call recaps. So these are usually events to gather some of the biggest highlights, because a lot happens, as you're going to see. And one thing that comes out of this is that, first of all, within the Builder Center, you don't have to ask, hey, are you going to share the slides, or what is going to be happening here and there? You can join the Builder Center, and you're going to be getting a 200 plus pages PDF with all the key reInvent announcements. Also, just to mention, for this particular recap, we are going to go through each and every announcement that happened prior to reInvent, during reInvent, or anything that is planned out to be out there. But when you get that PDF, you're going to get a couple of things in that deck. You're going to see services that are already now generally available, others that are currently in public preview. Still, AWS is getting feedback from them. And then you're going to get some that are in gated preview and those that are coming soon. And in terms of the color coding, that announcements that happened prior to reInvent happening, those that were announced during reInvent, and then the name of the service and whether it is also open source or proprietary. When it's open source, you'll see that. And definitely all announcements has when it happened, the status of that announcement, and when it was released, and also in which regions is it available. You'll be getting that in that kind of a deck. So pre-reInvent, this is just ideally the period before reInvent happens, that is around October 28th all the way to December 30th, November 30th, thereabouts, before December 1st when reInvent happens. So that is when a lot of happens. And now, what is AWS reInvent? This is one of the biggest cloud conferences. I had the privilege of attending the 2024 edition, and I can say it's a surreal moment. You get to a point where you can even get overwhelmed. I can say if you go there, because if you look at the numbers, and if thinking about people who are attending reInvent, people want to transform their businesses using AWS, and it's a week-long thing full of learning. There's an expo center. There's a lot of things conference parties, so many things. And in 2025, we had over 60,000 attendees, and I was one of the online 2 million viewers who followed some of these online. We also had reInvent at home, which was organized by the community, and had the watch parties of the keynote sessions. There's a lot that happens with reInvent. You can see 3,500 sessions took place. We had over 3,000 speakers at AWS reInvent. And these are some of the things that happened. There were total updates to different services, 530, 414 pre-reInvent kind of announcements. And during reInvent, there were 116 announcements. So that's quite a lot. And definitely, we wouldn't want to do an information overload on you and try to cover all that in this short period of time. Also, something amazing happened last year. The CEO, Matt Gaman, did 25 launches in 10 minutes. It was quite a rush, and I think it's at some point even get to grab some water to do all these kind of launches, announcements. And during his keynote, he talked about powering the future. As you can see, you'll get that deck. It has the QR code, and you can look at some of the things that that happened, because this was the second reInvent for Matt Gaman as the AWS CEO. Also, as you already know, we are an AWS AML user group, and a no miss keynote is the one by Swami, Dr. Swami, who is the VP of Agentic AI at AWS, and talking about what we actually live for, which is moving from idea to impact, and mentioned about 5.3, around 3 million downloads of Strands Agent SDK. And the QR code is there. You can check it out. We also had the VP for partnerships, global specialists and partners, Dr. Ruba Bono. She also had a Q&A with Matt Gaman, talking about some of the things that happen with AWS and AWS partners, because people are looking at how can agentic AI power their businesses, and the QR code is there, as I've mentioned, just on a high level, because it's an intro. We also had the Monday Night Live, but this one, Peter DeSantis, was also joined by Dave Brown, who is the VP of Compute and Machine Learning Services, and they're talking about this AWS Trainium, which is going to become PyTorch native within this quarter. And what better? It was actually, I felt like crying on my screen when I had that for the first, this is going to be the final AWS reInvent keynote for Dr. Werner Vogels after delivering in over 14 AWS reInvent. And on a Thursday afternoon, he talked about this thing called the kernel news. And anytime you attend, because anytime you attend, especially if you attend it live, you're going to get this kind of a movie, kind of a theatric start to the keynote, and then go deep into things around best practices. Go check the kernel news. It's an amazing thing. Right now, he's now bringing more people to be part of the voice, and he's ushering in a new generation of people who have been there as distinguished engineers at AWS to talk about some of the best practices that are there. So definitely do check that out. Yeah, so ready. Now let's fasten our seatbelts for this particular recap. That was all just a kind of a recap.
Exploring AI is a lot like folding a paper airplane. You build, test, tweak, and discover just how far your ideas can fly. Some teams watch their ideas soar into production, while others never quite leave the ground. At AWS, we learned the fastest way to spark innovation is through competition. And we proved this with AWS DeepRacer, where over 560,000 builders have learned machine learning through racing autonomous cars. That same hands-on approach now powers AWS AI League, where your team can tackle real-world AI problems through friendly competition and expert-led workshops. Participants learn prompt engineering, model customization, and agentic AI using the same tools and services you'll deploy in production. Companies are already seeing an impact. Faster development cycles, stronger AI collaboration, and breakthrough solutions. You can even host your own internal challenges to spark creativity and celebrate innovation across your organization. Whether you're just beginning your AI journey or scaling enterprise solutions, AWS AI fold new ideas into real results. Ready to take off? Join AWS AI League. Your next breakthrough is just one competition away.
Yeah, so as you already know, we had the AWS Deep Racer. Right now, we now have the AWS AI League, which became generally available from November 30th. So you can check it out. The QR code is also there. Again, Builder Center should be your place. If you don't have a Builder Center account, please go there. There are a lot of changes that are happening there. We now have the spaces. For example, there's a charter space for reInvent 2025 and all the keynotes and launches. There are spaces there. Something beautiful that has happened in the Builder Center is we now have the workshops available from within the Builder Center. And we also have services and features you can get to know. Is a service available in a particular region without even worrying before you start working through with a customer and saying you're going to do this, we're going to put it in this region, then you're shocked that maybe a particular service is not available in a particular region. So these services and features does that. And this one is generally available. Check it out on the Builder Center. And then lastly, this is my last part, is that please do sign up to the Builder Center. You get a Builder ID, which you need for a couple of things on AWS. So do that. Right now, there is an AI 10,000 ideas competition that has already launched, and it's just a couple of days left to the end of you submitting your idea. And there's a lot of prize money to be awarded to the winning teams, and also things around AWS credits and swag. So do check that out. You may also use that as an opportunity to build your AWS profile under the AWS Builder Center. And now, without any further ado, I'd like to now invite our very first speaker. So let me switch my screen to this particular side. Okay, awesome. Yeah, so we're going to be having Rosius, who's going to be taking it through. Ndimofor is a seasoned software architect and is an educator. Is very keen and passionate about empowering developers, especially here in Africa, and has been the forefront of full stack and cloud development since 2012, and is a globally recognized serverless hero. Is one of the, I think we only have 4 heroes in Africa. Is one of the 4 AWS heroes in Africa, and is dedicated to building a career to building scalable, resilient systems and empowering the next generation of engineers. Most recently, he shared with me that he was selected to a very exclusive program called the Now Go Build CTO Fellows, which is under the mentorship of none other than the Amazon CTO, that is Dr. Werner Vogels, which is a testament that of his leadership in this cloud ecosystem. He is also, as I've said, the founder of the Educloud Academy. I can tell you that Educloud has saved me in so many places that I cannot. I was even telling him that it also helped me do a project that when I went to an interview, I landed a job through that particular thing. So if you haven't checked Educloud, he's going to mention more about it. You should check it out because Rosius is doing an amazing job in that space. And I know he might be having some exclusive offers for us. I'm just putting it out there. Anyways, he's a pioneer in terms of hands-on only approach. And you're going to see that even in his presentation. He told me, Kevin, I'm going to do demos. I'm not going to do anything theoretical. I'm going to do demos. He is a hands-on person and focuses on technical education. He's a specialized in cloud and AI engineering, and also very big on serverless. And also, he believes that the best way to master the cloud is to build in it. And he moves beyond theory to creating real world practical impact. And just to mention, I was happy and honored to meet him in person during reInvent 2024. An amazing, humble guy. You not even know that he's a hero of so many people like me. And welcome, Rosius. The floor is yours.
Thanks a lot, Kev. Thank you. That introduction was amazing. Thank you. I feel unique. That's a rare feeling to have these days. All right. Hi, folks. As Kevin mentioned, my name's Rosius Ndimofor. I'm a software developer. I'm just a creator by heart, and I'm also an AWS serverless hero. And then uh, what's that? Now go build fellow under the boss himself, Dr. Venavogels. I'm really excited to be here because really talking to fellow or aspiring developers that's where I enjoy. That's the field I enjoy playing on. Where we can actually learn, bounce ideas off of each other. And we're in Africa, where we have a ton of problems to solve, and there's this amazing technology out there, which when you use it properly, you would actually create a lot of positive uh, impact with it. And my sole purpose is to always try as much as possible to inspire the next person, because I know how I've used the technology to help myself, to help better myself, to help serve my employers or my clients. And I feel like I always feel this weight on my shoulder, like it's my responsibility to pass it on to the next person, to let the next person know that, hey, these are the opportunities out there which you can get, but you have to know how to use this technology to get them. And this technology is being created all around the world, but accessible from wherever you are, on your computer, in your little room. You can just access Geiger, you can access a lot of information and a lot of manipulate a lot of technology and really get some clients, get some money, and help yourself, help your family, make your environment a lot better. So my main aim is always to just give you that idea and let you know that using like the easiest way to grab jobs or to grab opportunities, especially now that AI is everywhere, trying to take off everything, the easiest way is to, learn to always show what you've done instead of talking too much. Just show the client what you've done, or just do what you've done and or just do something and show it to people online, on Twitter, on LinkedIn. That's the easiest way that you can grab opportunities. When I got into the cloud back in 2021, uh, that's what I essentially just did. When I started building the most smallest REST APIs, just a REST API that performed CRUD operations, that's create, read, update, delete. I started sharing my content immediately. When I was studying, I just shared it immediately, and I started getting attention from the AWS community. I started getting attention from clients. And not to really brag or anything, but I've never really applied for any job. My work is my application form. Is like whenever I need an opportunity, and the thing is that the opportunities just come without me actually going out to search for them. But if I need an opportunity, all I need to do is send a link to Educloud, and there's always a guarantee that I would get a call back. It's so guaranteed that when I'm not against certifications. First and foremost, I have zero certifications. Let me put that out there. Zero. I've never gone in for any. I don't believe in certifications. No, I believe that if you want to build a house and two engineers approach you, one has some certifications, all the certifications in this world from different universities, Harvard, and another one shows up with five architectural patterns of houses that he has really put on the ground. You definitely know who you pick for your project. That's my mentality. That's how it always has been for me. That's how it always will be. It has worked 100%, 100 up to this day. Like to this day, I get opportunities out of everywhere. And that's the same approach. And that's the main reason I created Educloud Academy. I wanted to write a book, but I was like, I have so many stuff to build. I have so much stuff to build. If I write one book, I'll just keep on writing. And I don't really want to. So why don't I just create a platform and just dump my ideas there? That's exact. And that's the main purpose. I mean, the other purpose which which I created Educloud Academy for was to really just have you get on the platform, copy any of my projects, add your own thing to it, mix and match, and put it on your resume or your CV or whatever. Put it online, call it yours, call it yours. I really don't mind. I don't mind. I've seen it so many times. It's happening without even without people actually giving the credit. I don't even mind. I enjoy it. That's what I want. Put it and go out there and grab the jobs. And don't you can get certifications because maybe it might make you learn more. Maybe you have that challenge, but where I'm from, we're really poor, and I don't really have time to be, dancing around with certifications or trying to learn just for learning's sake. I really want to earn. I really want to make money. And the easiest way I've ever seen on how to make money is to just go out there and do stuff and show people, join hackathons, whatever, just show people and, show people unique projects you're working on, grab the opportunities, make your money, and move on to the next thing. Anyway, so yep, I'm really happy to be here. And let me stop talking about money. And not everybody's as money minded as me. I understand. Let's not talk about. So I'll start. I already screenshotted my own slides, and I'll just dive into the first one, and I'll just start showing you people how I see what AWS is doing, how I approach it. So the first, I've numbered my slides. Okay, I have to share my screen, right?
Be able
Oh,
to let me just make you co-host. Sorry, just about that.
yeah.
Let me co-host.
Thank you.
You should be able to share your slides.
All right. All right, entire screen. Okay, so the first, let's try to console all of this. I'm guessing you all can see my screen. Great. So during this pre-invent and reinvent session, I mean, the past 2 months, AWS was on fire. They were really on fire. They just kept on spitting out updates on tech, on old tech, and then creating new tech. So one of the updates they really made was on the API gateway service, which helps you create scalable REST API infrastructure. And so what they did was that they added streaming, REST API streaming to Amazon API Gateway. Now, this is great, but here's how they really want you to interpret stuff like this. The thing is, when they create a technology, people use the technology, people give feedback on the technology, and then they try to now improve upon the technology. So what used to exist before REST API streaming? Before I even want to talk about REST API streaming, let me just go back a little bit and talk about serverless and servers. Before serverless, there were servers. No, you could. There's still servers actually. So what you did back then was that you create your API and then you host it on the server, and then you're responsible for managing that server, for installing updates, for installing antiviruses, for monitoring and logging everything. So you needed a server administrator on ground to make sure that your server was always up and running. So after they sat down and realized that, okay, not everybody has that, the capability to actually manage a server. They don't even have the money, or they run that they don't have the money and the people to actually manage all the servers. What they did now was they created serverless, where they are still, serverless doesn't mean the absence of servers. It actually means the presence of servers, but they are not managed by you. So all the infrastructure that you provision are not provision, you just provision them, but they are not managed by you. They're managed by the team at AWS. So what you just focus on is your business logic, how your application is supposed to work. So your go-to-market is really fast. From idea to market, that period is really small. So you ship out fast. So let's talk about the REST API streaming. What used to exist before this came in, and what actually this is. So before REST API streaming came in, there were other ways by which we could stream events through a REST API. So with this case, let me give you an example. I'll go to Gemini and say, hi, how are you? And you see it'll stream back, see it streams back the response like that. You don't see it come back as a chunk. This in terms of user experience, this is a really, really, really good user experience, because if you research for something that takes a lot of time for the API endpoint or for this application to respond, you'll discover that the user experience is really ugly, and maybe you cannot wait until a fat chunk of text just fits your screen. But they figured out that what if during that search, whatever information they get back, they send it to you. So you don't have to wait too much. So now it has to stream through. So API Gateway actually had WebSockets, which you could use to perform stuff like this. But creating an API Gateway WebSocket there's a lot of code involved. There's a lot of code, a lot of moving parts. And if you understand what code is, you know that code is liability. The more the code, the more the bugs, the more you have to manage. That was great, but they could go better. So now they created Lambda function URLs. Great. So what you have to simply do is within your REST API or within your application, just create one Lambda function and transform it into an endpoint. It's just like an endpoint where you can actually use it to stream data back to your application. But they still, after that, they still went further by creating what they call app sync events, where you can create your REST API and then you put it in an app sync event and subscribe to it. And then whatever information is coming back now, it will stream to you. But that's still a lot of code. And then finally, we are here now with REST API streaming, where within your API endpoints of your API gateway, of your REST API, you can just automatically convert one to enable one to stream data back to the user as the data is being generated. This is really good, especially in the AI era where you're building AI applications and you don't want users to actually wait for data to be complete before it comes back to you. You want that data ASAP, or you want it as it's being generated. So you just, within your REST API, you just convert one endpoint to stream data back and it just comes in. So let's move over to Educloud Academy and let me show you a working example. So before that, let's just talk about what you should know about creating a streaming endpoint. So with this new capability, you can use streamed responses to enhance user experiences when building LLM-driven applications. Exactly. And then no more 10 megabyte limit size. Now you can stream huge data sets. So within the REST, when you create your REST API, each endpoint has a limit size of 10 megabytes. But when you enable streaming on an endpoint, you can now stream a lot of files or a lot of data through that endpoint. And then the default timeout for a REST API endpoint is 29 seconds. So if whatever you're doing on the back end, it has to be completed, and it has to respond back to the front end within 29 seconds. But if you've worked with AI applications before, you know that sometimes in an AI workflow, it takes more than 29 seconds. And you need that data back. So now the REST API streaming has the capability, you can extend it for up to 15 minutes. This 15 minutes, you have to also bear in mind that that's the default timeout for a Lambda function. whatever you're doing within a Lambda function, you should do it within 15 minutes. If you feel like what you're doing will move beyond 15 minutes, then you should use an ECS Fargate container. Talk about that. And then response stream is only available for REST APIs, not HTTP APIs, or exactly. It's when we're creating REST APIs. So let's just look at one little 20-second demo.
Which is why we need to plan it carefully. Why don't we turn things over to our
Where
assassin, Beth Sanchez?
what we do is that, okay, what we'll do is we just
assassinate me. Where the hell is the
what was that? Okay, so thank you. So we just within this little demo, it's an endpoint that will enable streaming for, and then we ask it a question like, what is AI engineering? So the aim is just to see the results stream back to the user, So if I play that, okay, what is an AWS agent, or what is AWS agent called? So as you can see, it's streaming back. And the amount of code needed to build this the advantage is that the amount of code needed to build this is really small. It's not as much as when using WebSockets, or you have to use an extra Lambda function to create function URLs, or maybe try to understand AppSync events to actually put that within an AppSync event. This is just within your REST API, and the amount of code is really small. You can go through this little workshop to just understand how it works and use it within your applications to really enhance the user experience. Let's move on to the next. I hope I'm not consuming a lot of time. I really don't. All right, thank you. What's the next on the list? Lambda durable functions. Geez, let's talk about this one too. All right, so as I explained earlier, when AWS releases stuff, or when any company, when you release stuff, it's always nice to put out updates based on feedback. It's nice to iterate, work on the product. And the most recent release is AWS Lambda durable functions. So what are Lambda durable functions? Lambda, at first, in order to create long-running tasks, long-running workflows, maybe you want to create a data pipeline that takes hours to process data, or you want to create a workflow where, like in this example that I would use, where a user places an order, it goes to the kitchen, moves around the kitchen, goes to the delivery guy reaches out, and there's a human in the loop to actually approve a transaction or deny a transaction. Or you want to create maybe a payment pipeline where you take a user's card, you check if they have enough funds. If not, you let them know. Just stuff that is long running and it can wait, and a human can actually approve or deny a process. What was available before, or what is currently available, is AWS step functions, which is super good. Like, personally, that's my favorite AWS service. I love AWS step functions because of how long I took to study it. I actually had to write in books, and it just holds a different spot in my heart. But with AWS step functions, we have two ways to create workflows. You can use the Visual Builder, which is on the AWS console, and then you finally export your workflow as either YAML or JSON. Now, not everybody is comfortable building workflows with YAML and JSON. They don't want that. Some people want to use the languages that they use on a daily basis, Python, TypeScript, and whatever. So AWS, other teams have been already using this high-end languages like Python and TypeScript to create workflows. And I think AWS felt the heat because there's Temporal out there, which is for workflows. We have Dapper, which I've used. It also has workflows, and they don't use YAML or JSON. And they were always like, we don't do YAML or JSON. We use languages that you use on a daily basis. And why are you still using YAML on step functions? So AWS listened, and now they released Lambda durable functions, which supports building workflows with Python and TypeScript, which is perfect. And within these workflows, you can you put all your it has what they call steps. It moves with steps. Let me say you approve a transaction, it goes to the kitchen, step 1. From kitchen, it goes to the parceling, step 2. Delivery guy, step 3. Comes back for approval, step 4. So those durable steps within the Lambda function, within your durable Lambda workflow can be are being checkpointed. So as each step executes successfully, is checkpointed in such a way that when your application waits, because when the application sends back an approval step or sends back an approval link for you to either approve or deny the transaction, it waits, and the application can wait for a period of 1 year without you incurring any charges. So just imagine that, let me take a different scenario where maybe you have your invoicing system. After you're done with the client, you push him an invoice. And that invoice is part of a Lambda durable workflow where you want the client to respond within 7 days. If the client doesn't respond within 7 days, the next step will be send him a reminder through email or SMS. So that wait period that you've waited for 7 days, you don't get to pay for anything. The application just halts. And then when the application resumes, maybe you've approved or maybe you've denied a transaction or a step. What it does is that it checks that checkpointing log, and then it goes through each step that ran before. Like it checks if it was successful. If yes, it moves to the next. If all the steps that ran before were successful, it now continues the transaction. So let's go to Educloud Academy again and see a working example, which I think you can actually watch this also on your spare time. I think is this. Oh, I think the demo is the demo of the application is too long. I'll prefer to run it right now, and we'll just do the cd durable cd front end or demo npm run dev. Right. So if you can see my screen, this is just a little front end that I vibe coded or vibe coding now. And what I'll do is that in order to start my workflow, I'll just click on this plus button, and then hopefully it works. So here, if you look on the left-hand side, you'll see it's started. So that's an event that's a step. So it has moved to the next step, which is started. So within each step, I send an event back to the front end to let the user know what's happening. Now it's validated. And then if you look on the bottom right-hand side, you see waiting for action. So I'm just assuming that this food delivery app, this ordering workflow is going through the kitchen, and right now it has reached the delivery agent, and the delivery agent now reaches back to you, and he wants you to confirm your order. And this wait period, I put a wait time of 3 minutes. So if I don't respond to this request within 3 minutes, it will cancel. The entire process will cancel. So I'll go ahead and I'll go ahead and approve the order. And I expect, so it has now completed. So the entire idea is I've confirmed my location or maybe whatever, and it has the process, they've gotten the response, the entire workflow was successful. So this is just a simple scenario of me demonstrating a human in the loop workflow. But bear in mind that this is for inspirational purposes only, and you can use this Lambda durable functions to build a lot of other stuff. There are like 1,000 different applications where you can use Lambda durable functions to make it a lot better. Let's move on to the next slide. Oh God, I think I'll run out of time. Strands, exactly. If you're obsessed with AI like me, because I'm extremely obsessed. The reason why I'm obsessed with AI is because it's the AI era. And most of the last 10 opportunities that I've got were about building AI applications. And Strands is, I think for me, I've used Strands, I've used the Google Agent Development Kit, I've used Crew AI, I've used Pydantic. Strands is up there. Like, it's not because I'm an AWS serverless hero, not because I've pledged allegiance to AWS. No. This firstly, Strands is open source. The second thing about it is that it's the best AI framework out there. It makes your life a lot easier. But up until this point, we had just Python as the default, as the only runtime language for Strands. So they have now added TypeScript. So if you're the JavaScript guy, TypeScript now is available for you. You can use it, if you don't want to use Python. I'll start creating workshops now with TypeScript. And then there's bidirectional streaming, which is really good for people building voice applications or gaming applications. But voice applications is what I've seen a lot out there. It supports so you can actually just talk into your mobile device. If the application is running on a mobile device, then it responds back. It responds back to you instantly. So there's that bi-directional channel for data to flow easily. And then it also has evaluations. Evaluations, when you're building AI applications, evals are in non-negotiables. You have to think about, it's like testing, right? You have to think about how the application will work and maybe test edge cases before you really push it out there, because you don't really want your application to misbehave. And strands always come, in order to really maximize strands and make it production ready, you have to fit it in with agent core, which I think we'll look at next. But for strands, if you want to learn strands, Jesus, on Educloud Academy, again, I have stuff on strands, like everywhere is strands. I don't know. There's strands. Just go to the search bar and search for strands, and you even see an email application I built with strands. Is like, it has about 10 different applications here, which you can check out, whenever you're free, which I think you should really check out and maybe stress me out a little bit with questions. Let's move on to the foot. What's in the foot? Okay. Agent core, Bedrock agent core enhancements. Let's talk a little bit about agent core. Agent core came into the picture like it's a response, not even a response. It's like, I don't know if you've used Google before. Google has ADK, the Agent Development Kit, and if you want to actually deploy your AI applications, you deploy them to Vertex AI, which is the production-ready platform. Agent Core is like that to Strands. But one thing with Agent Core is that it's platform agnostic. So you can deploy ADK. I have these examples also on Educloud. You can deploy applications built with ADK and Strands. With ADK to Agent Core, you can deploy with Strands, Pydantic, Crew AI, AutoGen. It's platform agnostic. Is great. So Agent Core actually helps you take your toy AI applications to production. It comes with a lot of runtime services. It comes with a lot of services, like you have the runtime, you have the gateway for MCP, connecting different types of MCP endpoints, which have expanded drastically. You have identity for security, which is really important. You have memory, which is really, 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 really important. That's really what they're talking about here. Because by default, you know that AI agents are stateless. In order for them to actually remember stuff, you have to give them memory. And within Agent Core, we have short-term memory and long-term memory. Long-term memory now has different types of how do you call them? Semantics? No, 1 minute. Strategies. We have different types of strategic memories, which episodic memory is one of them. So if you want to know more about agent core as well, I'm going through my own application, like, I don't know what the application was. Okay, I'll send this link. I'll send the links later, but there's a good introduction to agent core. Jesus Christ. Why is it? Okay. Oh man. I think I'll search for the link and I'll send it in the group later. So there's I think this is it. I think this yeah, so if you want to know more about agent core from a very introductory perspective, that's what's happening. I'm just a little bit tense, so sorry about that. Let's go back to the slide. I have to always carry the screen around. Okay, so yeah. Now it also comes with so the agent core runtime supports bidirectional streaming as well. So when you use your strands bidirectional streaming with and you deploy it to agent core, rest assured it works properly. And then identity support for custom claims, some advanced stuff which you can use in multi-tenant applications, which I intend covering before the end of this month as well. But if you want to know more about strands and agent core, then you have at least 10 workshops on Educloud to try it out yourselves. Let's check out the 5th. Evaluations, evals. Okay, we've already spoken about this. So let's go to the 6th. Great. Let's talk about Amazon Nova multimodal embeddings. This is really great. AWS has their flagship model, AI model called Nova, and it has a lot of, it comes with a couple of features. You have the Nova Canvas for images, you have Nova Reels for videos, and then you have Nova multimodal embeddings, which was just released, where you can create vector embeddings of text, documents, images, video, and audio. And then I think you have Nova Forge, which you can actually train a custom model where you can train on your own data. And then you have Nova Act, I think it's for browser purposes. You have Nova Sonic, it's for voice. Yeah, I think I've caught maybe 90% of them. Maybe there's more. But let's talk about Nova multimodal embeddings. At first, this is how I used to build applications. And I remember this because I built this application for a client where the client, what it does is he wants to feed his data of any kind, PDF, audio, video, to his application. And then you make use of that data. So what we used to do, or what I did at first, and I have the workshops on Educloud, which you can also go through, is that I take, let me say, a video file. I transcribe that video file. I take out the audio from it, then I extract the text from the audio, and then create vector embeddings of it. That process from transcribing the video to audio, taking out the text and all that, all of those services cost a lot of money, and there's room for error, and it takes a lot of time. So Nova multimodal embeddings now is one step where you can feed it all of that data, and it does it once. So with this model, they've taken out a whole bunch of services, which you had to struggle on. You had to first understand how they work. There was also Amazon Textract, which extracts text from files, PDF files and all that. So now they've actually created a model where it just extracts all of those in one step, which is really great. And I have a really good demo to show you all. But before, one thing about creating vector embeddings of data is to actually store those vector embeddings into a vector index and then make use of that data. So from here, I think the next slide we should look at are S3 vectors, which they released back in July, June, July, I think it's July, in preview mode. So what S3 vectors, before S3 vectors came into play, I used to use Pinecone, it's serverless. There's Pinecone, there's OpenSearch. OpenSearch, you say OpenSearch serverless, but it's not really serverless. I don't know why they attach serverless to that name. It consumes a lot of money and it's expensive to play with. But Pinecone was actually my go-to because it was truly serverless. Now, Amazon S3 vectors came in, and the first thing that caught my attention was that they said it's 90 times cheaper than any other vector database out there. And that's true. And now that it's generally available, it supports every vector embedding, every vector index in an S3 vector supports up to 2 billion embeddings. That's like the size of, that's like running stuff at the scale of Google, Spotify, or Pinterest. And then each bucket can contain about how much data, maybe 20 trillion. I'll research on that. But one thing that I'm certain about is each vector index can store 2 billion embeddings. And it's 90 times cheaper than any other vector data store, any other vector bucket out there, or vector service out there. And it's on AWS, and you're building your infrastructure on AWS. So it's really just, it's a no-brainer. You'd always prefer to choose it. The reason why I wasn't going for OpenSearch serverless is because it's not good to play with. It costs a lot of money. And, when you want to store this stuff and play with it, you don't want to start paying a lot of money when, you just want to test it. So for Amazon S3 vectors, it's 90 times cheaper. It's really just serverless, and you can play with it as much as you like. Now, I would like to run, before we move on to the next slide, let's look at the demo. So I'd cancel this. Video AI. CD dev. All right, so I don't know if you all watch football. I don't watch football, but sometimes I just try to get the highlights. And yesterday, Cameroon actually, they were kicked out of the tournament. Morocco had to trash us two 2 goals to nothing. But last week we had to actually teach South Africa a lesson. We gave them a good thrashing of 2 goals to 1, and I took it upon myself to create something, maybe put something out there, to extract my goals, just those parts where my boys were, doing the thrashing. I just need those goals. And now I created a video highlight generator, which is really great. It has a lot of services in it. It has AWS step functions, AWS Lambda durable functions, S3 vectors. It has AI Nova, multimodal embeddings. It has AppSync. It's like you can use it to do a lot of stuff. Let me give you an example that's not as petty as mine. I'll give you a different example. There are so many different examples. Let's say, and not even let's say, I'd worked in a flour mill before, and most of the times I wasn't an engineer there. I was a data entry operator. They didn't even know I could do any engineering. But most of the times there's this team that they come and set up all this complicated equipment, and then now they have manuals and videos on how to maybe reinstall parts. And sometimes when a part is bad, what you have to do is that you have to watch those videos. You have to go through those manuals to pick out that part. An application like this will solve that problem instantly. You just describe that part where you needed it to, how to install this part and this equipment, and it just picks out the part on how to install it, and then you you see the video. Another use case can be for a live feed of how do you call this now? Surveillance live feed, where you can just determine who actually broke into a car, or maybe somebody was crossing the road illegally, just by describing it, and it picks out that part. There are so many use cases of this, and this application, I'm currently recording the how it works. I'll put it on Educloud Academy with the description of the code and everything, which you can look at, and maybe inspires you to maybe to create something. But here I can go ahead and upload a video first. So you have to first upload the video or the content that you want to cut out or pick a section of it. I'd already uploaded a video of my boys doing the trashing. So now I'll just go ahead and try to search a certain part of it, and see. I have actually configured an FFmpeg cluster to, pick out the section, but it's not really precise, but let's just see. Let's search for the moment. Cameroon scored the second goal. I did not really build the front end properly, so it will say Nova is searching, and then you'll say no results, but it's still searching. So, but it will come in about 10 seconds. Exactly. So it has already picked out that section and then displayed it. And now if you look below, it's asking me to either approve this cut or reject it. So I can go ahead and watch the video, and if it's the section that I really wanted, I can approve the video now, and this is where it can be saved into DynamoDB or saved later for any other person's viewing. So I'll just go ahead and play it and see. I don't know if this is the second or the first, but it's wonderful. Anyway, so if you would really want to see all of this, let me approve this. If you want to see all of this working properly and everything, just check out the content maybe tomorrow on Educloud Academy and see how I use different services. I used the Nova S3 vectors. I used Lambda durable functions, step functions, AppSync, Event Bridge, completely serverless and extremely cheap. I'm a cheap person, so I'm sorry. When it comes to building applications, I think about cost a lot. Total cost of ownership is extremely important so that you don't shut down because you cannot keep your servers running. It's really important when you're building, you build for cost, you optimize for cost and efficiency, performance. And finally, I don't know how many minutes I have left, but I may not overstay my welcome. So 7, 8.
You have like 5 minutes. 5 minutes is good.
5 minutes. Jeez.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe rush. The final one is ECS Express mode. I can talk about this now. Before they released this, I actually tested it for a couple of months. And it was great because there's, like I keep explaining, there's a way stuff used to be done, but now they receive feedback. And then now they work upon they create an update. So at first, in order to deploy an application to the container, I think there's a tutorial around here. Okay, sorry. Yeah. So I have a tutorial here about deploying a containerized Node.js application using AWS CDK, AWS ECS, ECR, and Docker. If you go through this, like this is the default, this is how it used to be done. This is how some companies are still doing it. It's a lot of code. It's a lot of code and there are a lot of moving parts, So AWS now released ECS Express mode, which reduces that process to if you used to take 1 hour to write the code and deploy your server or your application to a container in an hour, now you can do it in 10 minutes. And again, now since there's AI and then there's Kiro, which is AWS's flagship IDE, AI IDE, can actually use an MCP server to deploy an application in, let me say, 2 minutes, to write the code in 2 minutes. So Amazon ECS Express Mode helps you deploy your containerized applications really quickly. And this is a nice example, which I really just did a vibe coded, while we were having this conversation. I've not actually put this update on Educloud Academy yet, but I've already worked on it. So I'll just put it for you to go through it, look at it, and then choose. Not even choose. You definitely move forward with deploying your applications using Express mode. And finally, I think, oh God, we have the ninth one was talking about. Okay, yeah, exactly. Lambda adds global support for Rust has gone globally available. Yeah, as GA support for global availability support for Rust. Yes, with Lambda you can build. It has runtimes on Python, Node. It has Ruby. It has Go. It has what else? TypeScript or JavaScript. So now it has Rust. I've already built a couple of applications with Rust last year, but it wasn't globally available. No, they were just patches. But now AWS officially supports it. And if you're a Rust enthusiast, it's your opportunity to jump in. And that was it. My name's Rosius Ndimofor again, and thanks for listening to this rambling and all that.
Wow, let's give Ro his virtual hand claps. Appreciate him. You can also put it in the chat. Just yeah, that was quite. I know everything was pointing back to Educloud, but we really appreciate you taking the time to do it in a very innovative way. Talking about the announcements in a way that you've built something around it. We really wish Cameroon would have gone through yesterday, but still, I hope it can also do for Morocco highlights. But it's fine. I'm just having fun. I hope it can.
I
It
know, I
can.
know.
It's not biased towards Cameroon. But anyways, I'm just joking. Thank you so much for that. And we are going to be having a Q&A right at the very end. But still, if you have any question right here, right now, because definitely you're not here for in our own kind of show where it's us, then you guys. So if you have any question, please feel free to raise your hand right now. If you just have one, we can take one for Ro right now regarding his experience in terms of it's very interesting how he does it. An announcement is done. I saw the announcement around Lambda durable function. Then he was the first person I'm seeing on LinkedIn. This person says, I've already built this using Lambda durable function. You guys check it out. There's this announcement that has happened, which is very different from people who just do a direct message of this has been announced. Hey guys, check it out, or just talking about the blogs. Yeah, I know you talked about the certification versus skills fiasco, but you're not going to get into that rabbit hole right now. But yeah, you're going to get into that, and it's usually a big thing around these spaces. But anyways, is there anyone who's raised their hand? Unless I've missed it out before that. If not, still you're going to be getting questions right at the very end. Yeah, Roy is an amazing guy. Thank you so much for that. Yes, Lucky, you have a question? Please feel free to unmute. Oh, sorry, let me get people an ability to unmute just a bit. Yeah, Lucky, you can ask your question.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. Good morning to the moderator. Good morning to the last speaker. So my question is on AI agents. When I was talking about that credit card workflow for a restaurant business, so I was just thinking if you could, because he was doing it manually. So I was just thinking if I could employ an AI agent that could just, go through all those processes without involving human intervention. So that was why I was asking him about AI agents, if he could employ AI agent to do the tasks for him. Thank you.
Thank you, Ro.
Hi, Loki. I like your name. Thanks for the question. Absolutely. Really, it's AI agents. You can use the workflows because AI agents have agentic patterns. There are different types of patterns which you can actually use to do whatever you're doing. You have swarms, you have the graph pattern, you have workflows. I created videos on those, but when I watched it later, it wasn't really that impressive, so I deleted them. But you can definitely use workflows within AI agents, like AI agent workflows. You can use swarms and make sure, and let your AI agent actually perform all of these tasks without human intervention. The problem is, the reason why I decided to always talk about human intervention is that most times, you just have to confirm a process, within a workflow, just to make sure, especially when you're dealing with really critical stuff, it's nice to have faith in your AI agent, but at the same time, so it's nice to just, be the last gateway the process goes through before getting approved. So you're like the because one thing that we're really trying to avoid, which I've really seen out there, people are trying to avoid giving everything to an AI agent to just, they always want to have that human factor within it to make the final decision, which is really good because sometimes an AI agent might assume that something is correct, but when you look at it from your own human standpoint, uh, from you have emotions, you understand the business, you talk with the clients, it doesn't really make sense. So you would not want it to move further. The agent doesn't really speak with the clients. You're the one who speaks with the client and you have the idea in your head and you have all those conversations. You want that when he wants to go through the final process, no matter what it is, you have to do the confirmation. So that's why most of my applications, I really try to specify that. And really that's what the pattern that I see out there. So, but absolutely, you can build, it can be completely autonomous. You don't even touch a thing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Lucky, are you good with that response?
Yes, I'm good with that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Lucky. Appreciate it. Okay, thank you, Ro, and please feel free to stick in. We have amazing speakers now coming up next. And yeah, so we are now moving to our next speaker, Akaeze Kosi. And it was very interesting how I got to Kosi. I was reaching out to a friend of mine, Chibuike, and I wanted him to come through for this session. He told me he doesn't have availability today, but he has someone who he would like to recommend to come for this session. And funny thing is, when he recommended Kosi, I realized that we have ever participated in a hackathon team together in an AWS community thing with Kosi some time back, which was very interesting how this world is very small. So when I was reaching out to Kosi, it was like someone who I'd already had an interaction with before. So you can see Kosi is a software developer and a cloud security engineer. Very strong track record of community involvement. I can attest to that, and technical excellence. She has served as a Microsoft student ambassador and vice chair of the IEEE Futo branch during her undergrad years. She also has 2 AWS certifications and an active AWS community builder and a community advocate for Ambassador Labs. Another thing is that she has a very strong background in front-end and cloud technologies. She has written numerous articles that break down complex concepts to help others learn and has shared knowledge in various tech events that cover around cloud, career growth, and education. She also played key organizing roles in events such as DevFest, Women Tech Makers, and TEDx Futo. So you can clearly see she's a public speaker in terms of nature with TED and everything in TEDx. And her commitment to community and technical education is reflected in her volunteering with different organizations such as Code for Africa, Hack for Futo, FUTO, hope I'm not doing it, and Nexus Skill. And without any further ado, I pass on the mic to none other than Akaeze Kosi. The floor is yours. Thank you so much.
Hi, hello. I'm actually flattered the way you were reading through this. Thank you very much. Hi, everybody. My name is Akaeze Kosisochukwu, preferably Kosi. Kosisochukwu is like long for some people, so Kosi is fine. And I'm a cloud engineer, but also a cloud security engineer as well, because I feel like security is like top priority, regardless of any other thing you are doing. And now that AI, cloud, all these modern technologies, security will always be there, because if whatever you're doing is not secure, it's just useless. So I feel like security is something everybody, not necessarily cloud security engineers, but everybody, a culture that we can imbibe and we should also look into. So without wasting so much time, there are about 8 announcements on. I'm going towards the cloud security announcement. That's where I'll be talking more on. There are about 8 announcements, but I won't go into deep dive on all of them because, first of all, I'm trying to put into consideration the knowledge base we have here. So I don't bore people with a whole lot of things. So I'm just going to talk about the core ones. I mean, regardless of your knowledge base, you will know it, you will understand. So let me just share my screen. Please let me know if you your screen. Okay, please enable me to share screen.
Let me make you co-host just a bit.
Okay.
Okay. You can share your screen now.
Okay, perfect. Yes, I can share now. Okay. Please give me a moment. I didn't know I was supposed to set this up. Sorry, I just have to leave and join just to.
No worries, Kosi. Yeah, I totally understand about that. So as Kosi sets her, I know those are things around the permissions and everything around sharing the screen on Zoom. I'd like to also say that you can feel free to drop your questions as early as now. We're going to be having a segment on Q&A regarding everything reInvent, everything AWS community. I know a couple of things are already happening in the community space. We have the AWS Community Builder applications for 2026 that have opened. Just note that they open only once a year. And if you've been building projects, writing content and helping other builders and documenting that journey, then this program is there for you. Because what happens, it comes with perks. You get $500 worth of AWS credits to build more on AWS and test out all these different things that you're talking about here. You also get
can you enable
yes.
my
You're back?
Yeah, just
Back now?
enable.
Oh, sorry. Let me also enable you. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let me make you co-host. Yeah. So sure. And please take it away. I'll do. That was just me taking people through some things. Yeah. Over to you. Over to you, Kosi.
Okay. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, it's visible. We can see it. Yeah.
So these are some of the announcements. I'll just for formality's sake, let's just again. Okay, so but this is the one I'm going to be starting with, this AWS login. First of all, I'm surprised that AWS just thought about this. Maybe they've actually seen our complaints and they're like, okay, let's do this for them. So because Azure already have something like this, and if you're coming from, if you do more of your stuff on Azure initially or before or still now, if you want to make use of your terminal, all you just have to do is do AZ login, type in AZ login to your terminal, and then it syncs to your Azure console on the browser, and authenticates you, and you can use the CLI as far as you have the permissions, right? Very easy. But AWS, on the other hand, I don't know the reason. I don't know the history, but initially what they usually do is making use of access keys. So before you are able to make use of your terminal, like CLI terminal, you have to be able to have access keys. And those access keys have like 2 keys. If you generate an access key, you need 2 keys. You need the access key ID, and then you need the secret key. So when you get those keys for your user, and then you have all the permissions also, you can go to your terminal, configure it before you can be able to make use of AWS services from your terminal. So it can be a lot of work, but not necessarily too much. But then, because we've been using it and we're happy. But the problem with this is, how do you secure those keys? They have native AWS native tools like Secret Manager, KMS, even others, like for example, GitHub. If you are moving your stuff to GitHub has these secrets. All these are put into place to make sure that those keys are very much secure. But then we always hear prevention is better than cure. It's better you don't even make use of the keys than looking for ways to secure it. That's just, when I saw it, I was just so happy, because now you can drop the keys and just go straight to whatever you want to do. So similar to what Azure does, I'm using Azure because I'm trying to just understand that not everybody might be coming from AWS. Others might have used other clouds as well. So Azure. So similar to what Azure does, if you go to your terminal, just type in AWS login, and then it syncs you to your AWS environment in the browser, and you can authenticate. I'll do a little demo, just very simple, so that people that don't know will just know. So that's basically all you need. But then, prerequisite, you have to install the AWS CLI. The minimum version for that is 2.32. So if you already have AWS CLI already, you have to upgrade. So just upgrade to this version. This version has a whole lot of cool features apart from this AWS login. And then access to sign into, okay. If you use IAM Identity Center, you can go log in. So if you're making use of IAM Identity Center, for example, you can also as well authenticate it from the browser. No big deal. But then before you do that, you have to attach this policy, the sign-in local development access, for you to have that permission to do this. So that's what I'm going to be showing us. So let me go to my terminal. Yeah. So I was doing it initially because it wasn't long I even heard of this. I was so shocked. Like, why didn't I hear about this since? So back to what I was saying. So this is my terminal. Please, I'm trying to expand it so that everybody will see it, because okay, I think it's bigger now. So for example, I haven't authenticated on the browser, right? So I just want to make use of connect to an AWS service using my terminal. And one command is checking IAM, like listing the groups that I already have in my IAM, which is a service, an AWS service. So it's saying unable to create or refresh login credentials due to insufficient permissions. I haven't done anything. And then I also removed my keys as well. So this is like brand new. So let's try AWS login. And before now, I already upgraded. Initially, I didn't have the latest version. So I already upgraded before now, because that could take a lot of time. So I just did it beforehand. So checking my version, I have the updated version 2.32.32. So please do that before you go ahead to do this. So let's do AWS login. Yeah, it's going to open this browser. I don't like Safari. So let me use, you can copy the link, and then I'll go to Chrome. Let me use, okay. Okay, so it's going to ask me whether root, even if you click on root though, Okay, your credentials have been shared successfully and can be used onto your section. So you see how easy it is, like very seamless. If I go back to, this is my admin credential, right? Which in terms of security, we're always advised to no, don't make use of your root user. Always make sure you use an IAM user that you've given like admin privileges. So this question is asking me here. Profile default is already configured. I already configured it to make use of IAM user. So you're saying, do you want to overwrite it? If I say no, it's not going to do anything. So I can go back to my AWS console and try to log in. Okay. I see why. I already logged in as my root user. So let me sign out and log in as an IAM user and repeat the process again. Sign in. Okay. So anybody starting out in AWS, you obviously have an AWS account. Before you do anything in your account, you have to log in. So this is like a very beginner thing. There's no extra work to be done here. So I already signed in as an IAM user. So let me go back to the browser. AWS login. Perfect. I'm not using this browser, so let me just copy this. Yeah. And then continue with active section. Why? Okay, let me just go back to the browser they asked me to do. Open. Let me just authenticate here. Or I am user. Okay. Pick up this link. Why I'm doing this, I'm going towards I already saved my credentials on here. Wait. Let me just do it. Since I already know what it is here, let me just go back. Sorry, guys. Sign out. Let me sign out here. Okay, and try it again. Still here. We're stuck here. Okay. If I copy this to a different, oh, now I see. Wait. Interesting. If I try one more time, then copy, and then come to this place. Let's see if it's going to give a bad request again. Okay. Perfect. So it still brings you back to this place and you sign in. Okay. Let's see. Invalid request. Let me just use the browser it's asking me to use instead of moving. Let me just follow it and use the browser. Okay. Continue with root IAM user. I mean, if anybody's with their laptop, they can be trying as well. It's just something very easy to get to. I hope I remember this password. I just hope so. I definitely know that's not the password. If it doesn't work, let me just sign in as root user. Not now. Let me just sign in as root user. At least I still remember the root user. I'm trying not to, unless I have to stop sharing screen, get my password. I don't want to go through that process. That's so bad. Let me sign in. Okay. Just using root user. Perfect. So okay, so your credentials have been shared. It has synced already, so you can make use of this now. Yes, let's just make use of this because I don't want to. So it has been updated. So if I do AWS IAM list groups, for example, now, I'll see it. So this is also, I could try other services as well, like the normal thing you would do if you want to, the normal thing you would do if you want to like connect to different services, if it's Lambda, if it's S3, any other service, you can just make use of it. So now I was just trying to explain that rather than putting your credentials here, you don't have to, rather than do all those configurations, you don't have to do it. Just sync it with your browser and it works out. So that's like one cool feature that I like so much. Then the other one is, so another thing I forgot, I couldn't show that because that will make me stop sharing my screen, get my password. I already explained that. If I had logged in as, now I didn't have to attach this sign in local development assets because I was using the root user account. If I was using like my IAM user that had limited privileges, you can just attach this policy to it and they can be able to do the same thing I did now. So I didn't do it because I signed it as a root user, right? So in case you want to try it out with your IAM user as well. So let me move to the next announcement I want to talk about. Perfect. This AWS security agent. So I feel when they brought up this feature, they had developers in mind. Because let me take it back, right? If you want to build a project or you're working in a professional setting and they're having a conversation around an application or a project that they want to build, the first thing they do is design discussion, design architecture. And when I'm talking about design, I'm not really talking about like using Figma and Adobe. It's just to talk about what services are you using, what tools are you using, what stack are you making use of? Will your front end make use of React, Angular, etc.? Will your backend, just talk about the services that you're going to use. Why are you using them? And the whole connections, right? It's like a supply chain kind of a thing. So after the discussion, the design team proper, like the creatives proper, will not use Figma and Adobe and design the app. Then the front end and back end guys will start doing their work. The front end will look at the design and start coding it to something you can see, while the back end fixes up the functionality and every other thing that is required. So it's like a whole process. Then after this whole thing, the QA people, the testers, they will now test it and figure out errors. Then you as a developer, you go back to your code and fix it up. This is like the default setting. And most times security is not really talked about like, as a core, just like we talk about, front-end developers, this is what you're going to do, back-end, this is what you're going to do. We always have this default mindset that as a developer, you're supposed to know that security should be the end goal. You should not go and do something that will scatter the whole app. Do you understand? Like, but who actually is testing this? Who actually is checkmating this whole thing that we've thought about? Now to the QA. So we are putting more pressure on the QA testers because they're not just checking if the app is working. They're also checking is this whole thing secure in terms of maybe, for example, someone that did not log in can be able to access the app. So it's like a whole lot of pressure. And it goes back, sometimes you need to go back to your design discussion. Like, no, why are we even using DynamoDB? This is not working. Let's go back to, so the whole back and forth, you're wasting time, and then you're putting pressure on both your developer and your QA testers. So this whole security agent now made everything easy, because right from the onset, you're talking about security. In as much as you want a working app, you're also talking about how secure is that app. So from the design discussion, all you have to do is put up a document that have your architecture, I'll show you guys like a screenshot. I got a screenshot of what a design document, like a sample of what it looks like. Put up everything that is needed for the app. What is the app supposed to be doing? What are the tools you are using? What are the connections? Everything, put it up, and then upload it to this AWS security agent. And the AI reviews your document and brings out like issues from the onset. It can also bring out like those that are not compliant, and it'll also give you suggestion on how to make it better. That's very cool. So before you even touch any code, you already know, okay, this is how this app is going to work, and it's very secure. So with this whole thing now, by the time you get to the end of the chain, the bugs are lesser. It's more security, oriented, is more good, and you can focus on other things rather than the back and forth with every other person involved in building the project. So this is a screenshot I got. Yes. So this is an example of how the AI, this is what a design document looks like. So when I was talking about design discussion and everything, this is a sample of what the document should contain, giving it more context. So I'm just going to read out some of it. So for this one, the name of the app is AWS Suite Manager. So basically, this is a serverless web application that enables users to catalog and share their suite collections. So users can create boxes to organize their suites, document details about each item, and share their collections with each other users through fine-grained permission controls. This is just like a high-level view of what the app is going to be doing. The key features, it's going to create and manage suite collections, add detailed information about individual suites, share boxes with each user as editor or viewer, automatic onboarding with, so you just mentioned the key features of that app. And then the architecture overview. So basically, this is a serverless web application. And then from the user browser, the front end obviously should be hosted on CloudFront, then S3. It's going to make use of React. The front end is going to make use of the React. And then we have like the API gateway for the REST API, then the Lambda. So you're just stating out the procedures for the AI to have like a better context of what you want to build. So these are so when you upload this document to this agent, it's going to, yes, this is what the UI looks like. So it found out one that is non-compliant. So it checks the authentication. You're making use of the best practices in terms of authentication, secret protection best practices, privilege access, everything is compliant, is good, based on what you've provided. And then for this one that is non-compliant, you can go back to it. Okay, why is it non-compliant? And this is the reason. So look at the comments the AI made. The result is non-compliant because the document describes configurable security settings like the IAM policies, sharing permissions, encryption, and by default, boxes are shared publicly. The document mentioned that this is done to increase social engagement. This is the comments the AI has made based on what you've uploaded. So now, how do I fix this? So to achieve compliance, boxes should be private by default. Users should explicitly opt in to sharing their box information publicly. This makes a whole lot of sense because you can go back to your discussion and like, okay, this is actually good. Instead of just making everything open, why don't we at least give our users the permission to tick it? So just one of this can make your app, like it could be different from someone else's app that is similar. So this has given your app like a very clear advantage to another app, a similar app that is not even using this. So that is one cool thing I like about this. And it doesn't just do design review. It can do code review. You could sync it with your GitHub repository, and then it's based off of whatever you've given to it. It has like a high level context already. So it can also review your code your PR, every PR, to make sure that it's in sync with the initial discussion, which is really cool, like very, very cool. So me personally, I'm going to try it out in my next project. So I'm telling all of you, you can try it out as well, write an article, and just very nice. I think my time is up already. I've used so much. I don't want to go beyond my time, but we also have this near real-time risk analytics in security. So Security Hub was already in existence, still in existence, an AWS CSPM native tool. So you could check it out because they have this feature added to it already. And then we have this extended threat detection for EC2 and ECS. You can check it out as well. There's no time for like proper demo because I would have loved to for each of them. I mean, it's good because as the environment you're using is evolving, you also have to evolve. So it's very cool if you can check it out. So this is where I drop the microphone. I hope I'm still within the time frame. So thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for having me. And if you have any other further questions, I think Kelvin will make room for these questions to be asked. See ya.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it, Kosi. Let's give Kosi her virtual appreciation, the hand claps. You can also add some compliments in the chat. That was quite amazing. And I know the demo gods were trying to go against you. But yeah, you did well with the AWS login. I was just like, if only I could do something to help. That is when passwords decide to fly out of our heads. That is when, but I love you've chosen an amazing part for this AIML edition, that is security, because we're talking about, when Lucky was saying you're talking about credit card information, then he was talking about AI agents. I was like, can those two things go together? The way I'm even suspicious of giving a human being my card to swipe, or I have to swipe myself, can I really give an AI agent my CVV, my debit card number when it is expiring, so that anytime it feels like buying something on my behalf, it will do it? Or if it feels like Kevin needs a better pillow, I just find it on my doorstep. Anyways, that's a whole story for another day. But yeah, so as the custom is, yeah, exactly. But of course, he didn't want to go through the whole process of unsharing her screen, then getting the password, then coming back. And I totally understand. For me, I think because we love MFA, I don't even remember my passwords for my IAM users. I have like a dozen users, and even the root user, I don't think I put it something that I can remember. Maybe I'll just have to go through the whole process of resetting the password if I need it. Okay, yeah, so as I've been doing, even when I did it for Ro, if you have any questions for Kosi, especially regarding what she has just shared on the security agent, on AWS login, on anything security, that would be awesome. But before we even do that, before you do that, Kosi, you went to reInvent 2025, right? And I'd like to give you like 5 or so minutes to share with us, away from the announcements, away from how was the experience for you? What did it really stood out for you last year? How was it interacting? Just share with us what was in your highlight. I know time flies and you had that in mind, but yeah, please, you have the mic back.
Okay, so first of all, like everybody should attend AWS events because I mean, nobody can sit down here and describe the experience. I'm still most times when I go look through the pictures, I'm like, wow. So like it's a very roller coaster ride. Let me just stop it there, right? So for me, before I went for the conference, I had in mind that I wanted to do more on networking, like talking to people, because I feel like for every section you attend, it's readily available on YouTube. You can just go on YouTube anytime, anywhere and watch it, right? But you will meet people physically. And there's a difference between speaking online and speaking in person. So that connection, it's like very sweet. So I had to prioritize networking rather than going for different sections. I think in total, I don't think I attended up to like 5 sections. I didn't think so. So my core were two things: networking with like attendees, people that actually came for the event, and then networking with companies at the expo hall, because there's this expo hall, you go pack swag. I pack swag a lot. I dedicated a whole luggage, like a whole box for swags. And it didn't even enter. It was too much. So you can get a whole lot of swag. So I wasn't just picking up swags. I wanted to like talk to these companies, understand like their products, especially the security companies, the security core companies. And at least when I come back home, I'll brush up my skills and apply. So I mean, we all have to chase it. Me, I like money. So if you like money like me, I mean, choose your strategy. Some other persons will want to like go for sections, which is totally fine, right? So the experience was really nice. And first of all, you'd be very much overwhelmed because there's a whole lot of activities going on, a whole lot of working going on. Most times I felt like I was in boarding school because as early as 7 a.m., I'm awake, going for breakfast. From breakfast, go for sections, do things, go for lunch, come back, go for dinner. And then by 9 p.m. that you are back from whatever event you attended, you are sleeping. So it reminded me of boarding school, but it was really a nice experience. I was able to meet like awesome people that I've looked up to online and have conversations with them, networked with them, personally on a personal level, and even got some mentors, some cloud security mentors for myself. So it depends on what actually you want out of the event. Anything you want out of the event, you can get it. So I think if you ask me specific questions, then I can go specific to what you want. But generally, the experience is like, it's not something I can write down in an article. I'm finding it difficult to write down everything in an article. So if you have like specific questions, I'll be very willing to answer them. So yeah, that's the summary.
Definitely, I agree with you, and definitely for anyone, because this is a once in a lifetime experience, do what Kosi did. That is, focus on meeting people, connecting. And I know Kosi looks like a party person. I know every evening there's parties and parties and parties. So sometimes you don't even know which one to attend. I remember when I decided to just go to conference party, saw a certain party in a certain hotel. Then when I went there, I realized it was a Latin America event, Latam kind of a party, and everything was Daddy Yankee and everything. And I realized that even the food, I couldn't think about the food. But wow, you're from Africa. You don't leave a party. You just enjoy the party, then go to the next one. So I had to hop into another one. I couldn't have wasted that time of enjoying being with Latino babes and everything. Anyways, I'm just joking. So yeah, let's get it on. Thank you so much, Kosi. You'll definitely share with us more as we go on. We are we are getting to our final speaker.
Sorry, Kelvin. Sorry, Kelvin. Sorry,
Yes,
sorry.
please go on.
Somebody
Please
talked
go on.
about breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Please, if you are not an AWS community builder, I would advise to go and become one before you attend the events, because there is a separate section for us. And the food, oh my God. You have to experience
Yeah,
it.
it's called
You have to
Badivis.
experience.
Yeah,
So
you.
there's like a
I,
general menu plan for every other person. And as a Nigerian, I didn't enjoy most of the food because they were all moist. The eggs were not really, if it was scrambled eggs, for example, it was just too moist. I didn't like it. I didn't enjoy anything there. But going to the lounge for AWS community builders, you will have a proper princess, prince, king, queen treatment. So please become an AWS community builder before you go there. That's like a very simple advice from me. Thank you.
exactly. Awesome. Yeah, I totally agree. Definitely, if you are in for food, just go there and align. On the final day, we we and other guys, we went downtown Las Vegas and found some place to go and eat ugali and fish. Very interesting. You never miss it. It's only an African who can know. Get away from the Las Vegas Strip and go downtown and get some proper big ugali. right in the middle of the desert. So that was interesting. Yeah, surely food, if food is your thing, you have to also consult and become a community builder, also get certified. There's also the certification lounge and all those things. Yeah, so there's a lot going on there. If you start going down that hill, trust me, we might not find enough time for Effie. And we want Effie to tell us about what she has for us before we now get to that segment. So yeah, so let's get here. Let's get here. Definitely last but not the least, definitely we wanted to have these. And when I was reaching out to Effie, because it was, I think the algorithm was always making me have FOMO because anytime reInvent was going on and Effie was posting about what she's doing, and it was making me feel like if only I could be at reInvent 2025. And when I reached out to her to come and speak to us, she was like, we've been talking on WhatsApp, and I was like, wow, what a small world this is. That is, I don't know what we were talking about last time round, but yeah, that is how we are, and that is how the beauty of community, because these people are coming say, yes, we can do this because we know each other, we've connected and all these different things. So let's go to Effie's profile. Effie is a solutions and DevOps architect. She specializes in enterprise cloud infra, and she has a lot of hands-on experience in delivering production-grade solutions. In the morning, she was just telling me we have been working on a high-grade kind of a workload deployment on AWS. Super tired, but she's still here looking the part, ready to deliver something for us. So I know it's been a long week, but thanks so much because you're doing all these serverless and cloud-native platforms, cloud migrations, Kubernetes, CI/CD automation, and AI ML powered system. She always brings that builder's perspective to all these latest cloud innovations, which you're going to see. Effie is also a passionate builder and educator. What she does is enjoying simplifying complex cloud concepts and sharing these practical insights through real world projects. And now, after attending reInvent 2025, she's coming here to share practical insights about on the future of AI-driven cloud ops, AI-driven architecture, and AI-driven software development. So without any further ado, the mic, and I'll also be making you host to make the screen use. Effie, let's give her all the support, all the welcome that she needs to take us through. Welcome. Over to you, Effie.
I hope you can hear me.
Loud and clear.
All right. So I'm Effie. I love the introduction. It's amazing as well. Now I know what the rest are feeling. I feel the same thing. I am a solutions architect. I work with AWS every day, and going to reInvent was a game changer. So I want to share my screen, and we can talk about some of the things that I found interesting. Where is it? Okay. So I think you can see my screen. So for my case, I'll be leaning towards more of DevOps because I work in DevOps a lot. So the first thing I want to talk about is fully managed MCP servers on ECS and EKS. So initially, MCP, when MCPs were created, I think AWS were among the first people to jump on that bus. And around May 2025, they only had it in open source. Like you had to install it yourself and self-host, manage the updates, manage maintenance yourselves. Then during reInvent 2025, they announced the fully managed MCP servers for ECS and EKS. So I want to talk about MCP server. I don't want to assume everyone knows what an MCP server is. So an MCP server is generally a program that lets AI models access and use external tools and services. So, for example, like GitHub CLI, people use MCP servers and they don't know they're actual MCP servers. So, what if you can have this inside your EKS cluster? So, what would this mean for a DevOps engineer to have an MCP server inside EKS? So, number one, you're able to list and inspect your clusters and namespaces. Number two, you can easily find and summarize pod errors. There's always these pod errors. So this is an easy way to find them and summarize them. Number three, you can easily generate accurate manifests. You can generate manifests, but are they accurate? But now with an MCP server in your EKS, it has full context of what you're trying to create. So generating manifest becomes more accurate and tuned to your cluster. Then finally, you can easily check performance and configuration issues. So that's what it means having an MCP server inside EKS. So right now we have the managed EKS MCP server. You don't have to manage your installment. You don't have to manage updates. You don't have to maintain. And all this is done for you by AWS. All you have to do is to just start getting started and using the MCP server inside your EKS. Then the next announcement I want to talk about is AI-powered experience in ECS and EKS. So this is it's in the console. So you just go to the console where your ECS or your EKS is running, and you're able to troubleshoot errors. Right? It's actually a button. It's called Inspect with Amazon Q. It uses Amazon Q to help you troubleshoot errors in your ECS and EKS. So for the EKS console, for ECS, let me start with ECS. So for the ECS console, you just find the inspect with Q. That is if you have tasks that are failing, you have container health issues, or to check deployment rollbacks, you can easily just click the button that's written inspect with Amazon Q, and you can start troubleshooting using Amazon Q. You can interact with Amazon Q because it's interactive, and you can easily troubleshoot. On the EKS console, you will find this on the observability dashboard. Here you will find this feature where you inspect with Amazon Q. Click that button and you just click and it starts troubleshooting for you, and you can interact with it. So this solves the problem where a problem that would have taken 3 hours will now take at least 1 hour, right? This puts you off the pressure. Like, is it ready? Are we going live? All those problems you can easily troubleshoot and go live. The other thing I want to talk about is the DevOps agent. I'm sure you've seen this buzz all over LinkedIn, everywhere. And one of the biggest shifts I saw at reInvent 2025 was having AI agents do the job for us. So it's from Gen AI where you prompt, then we have agentic AI where we have agents that runs our systems autonomously. So what does also this mean for DevOps engineers? I think we're past the conversation where they are taking our jobs, and now we are thinking about productivity. We're always scared about going to production on Friday, but with a DevOps agent on the ground, I think you can go live on Friday. So it will help you with incident response. It also, that is okay when an issue arises and you have a DevOps agent on the ground. It will help you to troubleshoot. Number one, it will identify the root causes. It will do an analysis, and it will help you with the incident response. So this reduces the MTTR. This is mean time to recovery. Also, it reduces the time. If you are taking 1 hour, this is less than 1 hour. It reduces that time, and it's autonomous. It does this for you. Then the next thing I want to talk about is The last thing actually I want to talk about is Kiro. I've also seen a lot of Kiro everywhere, but it's an IDE from AWS. But I want to talk about one specific thing about Kiro. So when they were announcing Kiro, I was listening and they talked about having a spec-driven development. So this means one of the problems we have with using AI is prompting, right? You might want AI to do one thing, but how you're prompting it to do something different, right? So this is something Kiro will solve through spec-driven. So you pass the specs that you want, and it can easily generate code based on those specs. So it reduces hallucinations, or where AI is giving you an output that is not quality because of the prompt, right? The output that an AI that you prompt, the quality of that output is usually dependent on what you prompt it. So if you have a spec-driven development, then the output is guaranteed to be a little bit more accurate than using regular prompts. So that was very cool. I found that very interesting because I know prompting is it looks easy, but you might be prompting something different than what you want. I also want to talk about vibe coding. I have a small experience about vibe coding. I once got an interview and they had sent me a project. I was quite busy that time, so I vibe coded everything. So it was a DevOps project, and it was a Terraform template. So I vibe coded everything. So it was working, and actually it went live. I hosted APIs on an actual domain, but everything I had vibe coded. And I got to the interview because everything was working and it was live. They were impressed. And then when I got to the interview, they asked me about my Terraform template, yeah. And the guy who was interviewing me asked me, I'm gonna ask him a number, yeah. So what does line 43 do in my Terraform template? And for me, it was the first time I was seeing that line, given that I'm the one that wrote the whole template, but then I had vibe coded everything. So I didn't know what it meant. I didn't know what it was. So long story short, I did not get the job. So that could be one of the reasons why. So every time you're vibe coding, I want to challenge you guys to always counter check. Seniors are saying about vibe coding equals to vulnerability as a feature. That is true because you need to check what AI is doing for you. You need to check what it's producing, and you need to check what you're deploying. You need to be able to understand what it's doing. You need to, if anything, AI will help you learn a lot. It always explains the why not. So anytime you're using AI, just make sure you understand what it's doing, counter check, ask it questions like why it decides to do this instead of this. Make sure you have the full context of what AI is producing for you. Don't just vibe code. Even Vogels warned us against mindless vibe coding. Make sure you understand what it's producing. And I think AI is here to help us to be productive. We focus more on solutions rather than syntax and indentation and all those things. But make sure you understand what AI is producing for you. Yeah, I think that's it for me for today.
Oh, wow, what better way to wrap it up in terms of you've given me an idea. Anytime I'll be getting a project, just vibe code it, especially if it's not going to earn me money. There's those people. I remember there were people who would give people some work-related tasks as part of an interview. Then once they get the best output, they don't hire anyone. And they'd be always they'd have these constant openings on LinkedIn. And you wonder, these people are never hiring. What is going on? They're just using the same thing. And yeah, you just reminded me. There was one time I decided to vibe. Oh, okay, should I say spec-driven, do all those things on Kiro? I was building a certain app as a demo to demonstrate to a certain client that you can do it. And it was very interesting. I loved it. I even went on it and I said, after I'm done doing it locally, it was even doing something on some Prisma and TypeScript. I couldn't even understand what is going on, but I could see the output was good. Then I said, let's do an MVP. Let's put it on light sale. Then I made sure that my terminal is well. I didn't do AWS login as Kosi said, but maybe I'll set it up. But I made sure my terminal is well set up and it was running everything to deploy it on light sail using the CLI. And even just told it, hardened the security of this deployment. And it was doing crazy things that I could not even think about, making sure that there is some like 3 levels of firewall, making sure a couple of things that I could not even understand. At some point, I was just clicking yes, 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 yes. Then after I submitted it to the client said, could you change this UI, this part and this part? Then I said, okay, that's super easy. Let's go back to Kiro and tell it. I think Kiro had already forgotten the context. And he said, okay, let's try to remember let me look through your code. Let me understand. Then I said, okay, you're going to understand it. You're the one who did it, right? Then what happened is I said, I want you to update this button from login to this. I want you to do this. I want to change whatever the client said, almost in verbatim, but in a bit of prompt engineered way. Then after it finished and I started to click login, I was seeing authentication error. Then I asked it, the authentication was working. What has happened? Make sure you sort it out. Then it started saying, maybe the authentication, I'm seeing an error. Let me go back to the logs. Then it is not able to check the logs. Then finally, I make it able to see the logs. Then it says, it may be because of this issue. Then he said, let me try to do this. At first I said yes, maybe I trusted it. I had some trust with it. Then he said, okay, you try that solution. Then he said, it seems that then we tried again, then it was still the same error. Then he says, maybe that was not the issue. Let's look at this other issue. Then I saw, yeah, we are getting into a rabbit hole here. At some point, it was even saying something that I know was blatantly wrong, such like telling me it will try to get up to some point. I told it, hey, let's back it up. Can you just take the application to how it was before? And it was even struggling to take it back to back to where it was working, because then finally when it was able to work, by the time it helped me make it go to when it was working, I'd understood the whole code myself and I did all the changes without it helping me, because I had to look at whatever it is looking at, whichever code. It was crazy. So if you try that, if you go into that rabbit hole where you do these things without understanding what it has created, I think the biggest thing about vibe coding is the amount of effort, especially the DevOps, the senior engineers have to look through in terms of what have you just done, because it can become spaghetti code very, very, very fast. Yeah, so that was, thank you so much for putting it out there, and it has been amazing. Effie, Kosi, you've really gone, I don't know, you've gone above my expectations. I don't know about our participants. You've really put in the goods out there. I don't know, Effie, how was it for you in terms of reInvent 2025? I know Kosi was all about the food, and I'm just joking. Uh, what about you? How was it for you?
Uh, it was actually extremely amazing. So for me, unlike Kosi, my goal was to attend sessions and learn things, especially the leadership sessions. I really wanted to go to as many sessions as I could, but that was actually not possible. So because number one, when I was booking sessions, I did not know that you see the different buildings, there's Vanessa and then there's Wayne. So I didn't know the distance between them. So some of the sessions I could easily miss because I have to walk all the way, and then you get there and then the session has already started and the doors are closed. So I missed a lot of sessions. So when I missed these sessions, my second option was to now network. So I would find people, start talking to people. So the good thing is that all conversations in that conference were tech, AI, and cloud. And that was amazing. You get to hear perspective from different people. You get to meet a lot of people from different countries, from Japan, from China, from Germany, from all over the world. But one thing was constant is that how I deploy a cluster here is the same exact way someone in Germany will do it. Maybe they know much better because they're a senior, or someone actually said I taught them something. There's someone who didn't know that there's Fargate in EKS, and they were like, there's Fargate in EKS, how? And it's someone who has experience. So they also learned something from me. So said that was the same way I learned from them. So I missed sessions and decided to network. I decided to also what else did I do? Actually, it was overwhelming. I I tried to chase the evening parties because they were exclusive. There was the Redis evening party. There was one for MongoDB, and they were exclusive, and I really liked it. Those times from 6 to around 7 to 8, I loved those. My other thing, just like Kosi, was the expo. I think since the expo was opened, I visited the expo every day. I loved that I met the actual developers of the tools that we use. So when I went to the Postman stand, I met the actual people who have developed Postman, and it was amazing. They're just people like us, you know. You see these tools that we use, Anthropic, and you think they're made by aliens. No, it's people like us. They were just chill. They talk about the features. They talk about how they develop, and that was really amazing. Another thing was those guys have solutions for everything, and I wish as Kenyan developers would go that route. We should be so solution oriented. So AWS has taken away the infrastructure problems. So now let's think solutions. What can we make? There's this, they presented a solution where they used AWS to, it's called AudioShake. So AudioShake created a solution where you can separate voices. So if it's a noisy place where there's cars, there's people, you can separate only the people talking, you can separate only the cars moving. And that was so cool. And all this is running on AWS infrastructure. So they script off the part where you think about infrastructure and they focused on the solution. So this solution is actually meant to help people with hearing aid. So what if we bring that kind of thinking in Kenya? Can we think solutions? Can we actually build these solutions, right? The expo was full of solutions that we don't have in Kenya, and we are consumers of those solutions. Are we able to create our own solutions? So I came back thinking, what solutions can we build? Are we able to think solutions? And I would love to meet people who are creating solutions. If you're here and you have solutions, please count me in. I want to build cool stuff with you guys. So that's one of the takeaways for me from reInvent. And also, what else? Oh, I would like to mention there's someone who came to my LinkedIn and they told me that they did not apply for reInvent because they thought they would not get picked. And I would like to tell you guys, if there's someone who should never disqualify you, is yourself. Never disqualify yourself. So what if I had said the same thing and say I will not apply because they will not pick me? I would not have gone to reInvent, right? So never disqualify yourself. Apply and it might be yours, just like we got it. Yeah.
Agree with you. It's just that I didn't want to get too early onto the things around the all builders welcome grant and applying for that. But yes, I agree with you that then one person that you should not disqualify you is you. I applied in 2023, got rejected, and I took it in the chin and looked at what I made wrong, and I reapplied in 2024, then got it, then went to reInvent in 2024. Some are usually lucky they get it first time. So you have said the right thing that it is possible to get this opportunity and it is open for us. I know even a couple of friends, I know you don't want to say this, but it's usually like a VR. You celebrate getting the grant, then you also have to celebrate getting the visa. But that's a whole story around also it. It is a two-level kind of a thing. And right now with the political climate in the US and everything, we want you to prepare very early. Just know that I think it opens up in June. the grant application somewhere around in June there. So just get your house in order, try to see how things contribute to community. I think we should re-invite you. Okay. Bring you all together again for you to tell us what did you do different to get the grant, and also apart from getting the grant, what are some of the things someone needs to do when they go to the embassy to get their visa, because that's a whole story altogether. I know a couple of friends who get the grant, sometimes they don't get the visa. It's so painful. And yeah, especially in this part of the continent, I mean, this part of the globe and this part of Africa. That said, it's open up for questions for the next couple of minutes. Then we are wrapping this up, becomes a wrap. As always, we are also on our socials. I'll also ask our speakers, please do share your LinkedIn or whichever social you'd like people to follow you on. Please put it in the chat. Effie, Kosi, Ro, please do put it in the chat, and also add definitely educloud.academy is your place to go. As Effie has said, if you're building something, a solution, something tangible, reach out. Kosi is a hackathon guru. She can tell you she does it as if it's no one's business. We've done it together with her. So she's also kind of a builder. So you can see these are good mix of speakers who love building solutions for impact right here in Africa, which is amazing. So any question, please feel free to raise your hand. If you have any question for Effie, for Kosi, for Ro, before we close it out. Yes, Lucky. Did I disable people to unmute? Okay, yeah. You are now can be able
Hi,
to unmute.
everyone. Hi, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Good morning to all the speakers. I want to thank you for sharing what you've learned so far with us. So my question is directed to Kosi. When she was talking about AWS login, in the past I've used it, but not with our method, because I tried using our method. I really wasn't able to, connect to my AWS. What I usually do in the past was that when I log into my console, under IAM, I create an access key, and with that access key, I can easily, get access to any resources on AWS. But when I tried using AWS login, using my Bitbatch or using my VS Code terminal, I wasn't able to replicate what she did. So I don't know if she could do a brief rundown so I could, try it again to see if I could replicate it. That's my question.
Hi, Lucky. Hello. So first of all, I want to ask you about your AWS version, because if you're not on the updated version, you can't be able to access that. So you need to check your version. You can check it now, but the minimum version you have to have is 2.32.32. So you can update your CLI, your AWS CLI, and you can try it again.
Okay. I will do that. I'll do that.
Okay, please do that. If it doesn't work, just reach out.
All right.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Roy has also shared his LinkedIn, as well as also the link to educloud.academy. And he has amazing free introductory courses out there. I believe there's also even a community around these, and you can easily reach. If there's one person who is so reachable, especially on LinkedIn, there's Ro, you can ask him anything about what is building on Educloud or anything around serverless, AI, ML, AI engineering. Is doing an amazing job right there. So as I'd mentioned, I think there's usually some some feedback that is really required. Let me see if I can find out to where I'm supposed to get you guys as we get into the closing of this before we close it out. Yeah, so I'll share this and share with you so that you can see this. This is what happens when you decide to go. Okay, let me share my screen. Then share that screen. Yeah, so as you mentioned, you don't have slides. Can you share the slides and everything? Everything that our speakers shared, this 200 plus page PDF that has all these announcements, the QR codes under the Builder Center for AWS Community reInvent recaps. Please join the Builder Center using the QR code. I also shared the link that is builder.aws.com. It's pretty clear. You can check it out there. Then when it comes to this, we have the AWS developer on LinkedIn, the podcast, this for Skill Builder, and the AWS developers YouTube channel. All these is also available for you. You can take a screenshot, or you can decide to also go to the Builder Center and you'll see. And also, as Kosi mentioned, all the events, all the technical things, there are session videos for almost each and every slide and every session, because there are 3,000 sessions. You cannot even keep up. There's a whole playlist. There's even a whole course on skill builder for the reInvent. All these videos are all there, and the videos are also going on for each particular slide. So many of them, you find them there. And then also, just to mention one more thing, let me show you something. Should have brought these on this other side. As this, you can also connect with us on our socials, which is this. If you haven't joined the meetup, please, for all the other different events, please check us on the socials. That is our link tree. It has the WhatsApp group. It has the Instagram, the LinkedIn, the YouTube channel. We'll be doing more of these particular events, especially building events. I believe I'll ask each of them. Maybe I'll give them one day, one time. I'll give them as the only speaker for an event, and they come show us something they built. Or Ro takes us on a deep dive on strands agents or strands and that kind of a thing, because we want you to get skills. You want you to get something that you can say it is under your profile, and you can use it even in interviews and different places. And that said, I'd like to also appreciate each and every one of you. I saw amazing names, standout names. I saw a couple of Cloud Club captains here. Thank you so much for your support, because we work together. We also got support from our other user groups in Kenya. We have the AWS user group Kenya, which is the general one. We also have the AWS user group Pwani. Thank you so much for the support, because we collaborate as a community. We have the different cloud clubs that are represented. I saw Crispina's Jacob somewhere. I saw, I think, Grace. I saw David. A couple of standout names in the community. Thank you so much. I also saw Mark somewhere. Thank you for making time for what you guys do. We do not take that for granted. And each and every one of you, because you're doing amazing stuff in terms of the community. And if you have any kind of events, I know we have the Student Community Day coming up. We have the AWS Community Day somewhere in April. All these different things, and even beyond AWS ecosystem, community tech events will be coming in definitely thick and fast. So do share with us. We'd be happy to also share with our community, all for the betterment, because we are, as Effie said, we are beyond will AI take our jobs conversation. We are in how can we supercharge ourselves with AI ML. That is where we are. And then with that, unless there's any, I'll also open it up for one last time. If you have any query or feedback that you'd like to give, sometimes, okay, there's something that usually AWS wants us to do. Let me see if I have it here. There's usually that kind of a feedback but that one I think it's internal regarding us, regarding the slides or anything around the feedback. Yeah, don't worry. That doesn't have to be with you. But if you have any feedback, please do rate us well. If you have any comments, you can do that on Meetup, and we'd be happy to do that. So in case there's anything, I'll stop my share. If you have any kind of yeah, I've forgotten one last part of the segment, which is very important. I was about to forget, is a closing remark from each of our speakers. And we'll do it on the reverse. We'll start with you, Effie, then go to Kosi, then wrap up with Ro. What are your closing remarks to our participants as they start out the year? It's only 9-10 days into the year, regarding whatever they're doing, whatever they're building, AIML. What are your closing remarks? Like 1 or 2 minutes each. Let's start with you, Effie, then Kosi, then Ro. You don't have to wait for me to tell you. Just do it your way. Yeah.
Okay. So in the spirit of AI and where the world is heading, I think in the future we're going to have a lot of agents. It's going to be very much agent driven. So one of the most important skills you can have right now is AI. Be able to use AI, understand how AI will improve your productivity, understand how to use AI to better your work, and also to learn. Don't use it mindlessly. Then I think, have a direction on what you want to learn, where you want to be. I think what happened for me in 2025 are things I used to think about in 2024. I used to think about going to these tech events, to meet people, to connect with industry leaders. I used to always think about this, and I've always been passionate about cloud, so I was always writing. There's also building in public. I can tell you this from experience. Building in public does open doors. I've had people reach out to me on LinkedIn. I think my last 2 jobs, I did not apply. They reached out to me, or I was connected through someone. And that is through building in public. It's not because I knew these people. No, it's because there's always someone watching. Whatever you're doing, if you're doing it in public, just know there's someone watching, and it's going to open a door for you somewhere in the future. And also the community matters. Being a community, interact with people. I used to have projects that I used to have problems that I wasn't able to solve, but because I had a community, I could reach out to my seniors, I could reach out to industry experts. So if I have a DevOps problem, I know a DevOps person I can reach out to that will help me out. And people did help. I remember I once reached out to a WhatsApp group with a problem. That time I was starting up in cloud, and someone stayed up with me. Someone I didn't know, but that someone stayed up with me all the whole night trying to figure out my issue, and we actually figured it out, and it was solved. And this was from a community, right? So if I didn't have the community, then I might not have had someone to help me with this. So community, build in public, and learn AI. Yeah, I think that's it. And thank you so much for being here, and thank you for having me.
Thank you. Let's go to you, Kosi.
Oh, hi. So, everything Effie has said, everything, please take note of everything. But just one thing I want to add, or a couple of things I want to add is first of all, there is no better time to start doing something than now. I mean, you can think about so many other things. You can think about your dreams and everything, but you definitely have to start somewhere, and that somewhere can be now. So don't wait till tomorrow or whenever. You can start now and start figuring things out. Then secondly, to building in public. I mean, everybody tells you build in public, building. It's not easy. It's definitely not easy, especially if you are the kind of person that self-criticizes a lot. I know when I started, the first advice they'll give you, of course, people need to understand. I won't say I was an introvert or extrovert. I think I'm in the middle, but I criticize a whole lot of things down to myself, down to what I wear, down to things I put out. So because you want this particular perception of you, you don't want to put up something you don't like for people to see. So you want to be able to control how people perceive you. Do you get? And it also boils down to what you post. Imagine posting something that has bugs. It's not easy, right? But I always tell people what I did. The first time I started posting publicly, I will post, I'll off my phone for the whole day. I will not go to LinkedIn. I will not check anything. Do something else. Remove your mind from there. When you now come back, you are back with a different, your mindset is clear. You're not anxious. Fine. Then you can now go through the comments, take it as feedback, take it as, good criticism that can help you build. So that was what I did. Sometimes even up to you now, sometimes anything I'm not so sure of, but I know that if I post it, I'm going to get help somewhere or I'll just put it and put off my phone, and eventually I'll get the help I need. Then another thing it's not just about joining community. Effie talked about community. You need to be active, do something. Don't be a dummy community member that if you leave, nobody even knows. Even when they say, oh, maybe Kosi left, nobody knows who is Kosi. So you have to be very active. If you don't necessarily have to join a whole lot of community, but join something. Every public speaking, initially I wasn't really a good public speaker. I didn't like talking in presence of people, but it started from a community. It started from small group of persons. It started from like people in my university, people I knew. I had the opportunity to okay, Kosi talk. I knew these people that I knew them. So I wanted to just start from them because even if they give me criticism, it will be so harsh. So I started building up from there. So community, yes, but please be active. Do whatever that will make you be an active member of that community. And what other thing would I say now that has helped me? And yes, because if you're an active community member, you can get good things, you can get opportunities from there. Just like Kevin mentioned, I knew Chibike from a community. We had similar issues, and it was from a community. I asked a question. That was how they knew I had similar issue. That was how I was able to connect with Chibike. And that's how you build connections until you meet the person physically, but at least online, that's how you build connections. My first job when I was very clueless, it was from a community. Somebody said, oh, send your CV. I don't know the person. I haven't seen the person ever. I sent my CV, and that was how I got my first front-end role before I moved to cloud. Same thing with cloud. I applied to, I think it was Cloud, yes, for the internship. Over 800 persons applied for the same thing. I wouldn't say I was the best candidate, but I had like things in public that you can ask me, oh, Kosi, this article you wrote. And most times I'm more of just like, I don't know if I'm getting this name, I'll call it, is it Ro or Roy? But sorry if I'm not getting your name properly. Just like you mentioned, I actually love the hands-on approach because most of my articles are like practical things, what I've done. So if you are able to write down step by step anything you've done, even if you've forgotten, you can go back to the article and see it. So when you go for an interview and they ask you about the project, you can go back to your article, read it, and anything they were asking, you can better explain it. So just be able putting out things in public, documenting things, being active in your community, and just starting now to do whatever you want to do. So I'll drop it here. Thank you.
Let's appreciate Kosi.
Yeah, I think Kosi and Effie, that I mean, you folks have said everything that needs to be said. I don't think there's anything more for me to. I can add a couple of things, but building in public, showing up in communities, being active, I don't know, that's really the blueprint. Like I said, I started Cloud in 2021. By May 2021, I already had a job, and the job was the CEO actually used one of my workshops on his YouTube channel. And then he reached out and asked me if I could join his company and work on it. And I was like, why not? That is how I got it, the first remote job. Then by September, I was made an AWS hero. So just not even up to a year. And then let me talk about the Now Go Build program, which I just received an email for that I was selected. all they did was just look at the work that I've put out because you don't really apply for it. It's just like the hero program. You don't apply for the hero program like you're applying for the AWS community builder. They are watching. They are watching. And they'll just send you an email asking if you're interested in joining. That's it. And I posted a clip of me talking about the application I built where I pick out the goals and all that. I already have a client for that. When I put out the email application, I already have a client for that. And if I need to get a client, it's easy. I just do a fancy demo. Easy. It's too easy. I just do a fancy demo and you would like, when we had the community day, the very first community day we had back in 2024 here, I spoke about something called the butterfly effect, where you have a beautiful princess, and the dad was like, okay, she needs somebody to get married to his daughter. And two warriors came up, and the princess said she needed a beautiful butterfly. She needed butterflies. So the strong one went out and was trying to grab butterflies, and the way butterflies are tender, and it's even difficult to catch them. But when you catch one, you crush it. So when he finally came back with butterflies that crushed wings, and it wasn't really looking that good, while another prince went and built a garden, and instead of chasing butterflies, he attracted them. It's the same mentality. Instead of going out there and sending all sorts of resumes where AI will screen you out, where you're going against 1,000 other people, why don't you build a portfolio of projects and watch them come for you? Simple. It's so easy. And then I've done about how many meetups? I've done so many meetups, so many. And I go there and I say the same thing, build in public, do projects, simple. But for some reason, people still think that there's something else that you need to do. There's nothing. If you want to grab opportunities, you don't know who is watching. But make sure that when somebody, like if somebody pays attention, let it be worth their while, like show out. I always try in such a way to make sure that if you come across my workshop, you have to leave with something. Like if you have a project, then you have to call me for that project. If you want to learn, then it will teach you something. That's my impression. That's what I have at the back of my mind every time I sit down to do a workshop. My last workshop, my next workshop has to be better than my last. I have to impress. It's like these dancers, it's like this artist that the next song has to be the next. It has to be a block. It has to be shut down. It has to be better than what he dropped before. You have to see that hunger, and you have to keep on learning. That's why I learn really fast and I put out content really fast. I'm not even started. I have like 10 different workshops in the chamber, and I'll just keep on shipping them out like that. So this entire year, I need to ship out like 1,000 workshops, cover everything. I don't want you to come to Educloud and not have a reason to not be one of the best out there or grab a job out there. That's why we're working on a boot camp now, which will take you from beginner to intermediate in what will really get you a job. That's AI, serverless and event-driven applications. And once that's ready, I'll share the link. Those who can join, you'll pay a little fee. Right now, there's a fee on Educloud for you to pay, but for Africans, that's really expensive. So if you're interested in studying on Educloud, I can drop that down drastically. I just put that there because people appreciate stuff that they pay money for more than free stuff. When I buy a shoe for $50 and I buy another one for $150, the one for $150 I wear it like twice in 3 months. The one for $50 every day I'm on it. Every single day like that. So it's just the mentality about the whole thing. That's why I don't like, I can give out free stuff, but I don't like using that word free too much because I know, even me, I know how I respond to free stuff. I feel like free stuff wasn't given enough attention. But when I pay for something, I like, oh, I need to take care, and yeah, so I think that's just it. I don't want to ramble too much, but that's it.
Yeah, I agree. I can only imagine the sole of the $50 shoes. And I think you've ever seen that meme of those shoes that look like a triangle because someone has really tarmacked looking for a job. They spent a lot of time. So instead of buying buying cheap shoes, invest in Educloud. Reach out to Ro, and is very open in terms of helping you drop that price. As he has mentioned, he's not going to make it free. And yeah, so that is it. I don't want to also add into anything. I can see we still have a bit of time for you to ask questions if you do have for our speakers. If not, we can wrap it up in the next five. If there is anyone, I'd like not don't want to close it out for any person. Okay, so we can do the usual thing for definitely want you guys to appear on on Rose LinkedIn or Effie's or Kosi because they're going to be getting these screenshots. So we can turn on our videos momentarily to take a group photo. That's the only way we can do it. That's we could have done it physically, gone out there, hugged and created. So you can turn on your videos, please, so that we can take a group photo. I can see I have like 3 pages worth of making screenshots. So please make it worth the while. I'll not screenshot names. So please allow to screenshot a page that has pictures of people, photos of like not like profile photos, but real faces. So thank you so much. I can see Crispinas, Gaturu, Ogembo. I think you're supposed to Enoch. Good to see you, Sherry, Edwin, David, Lucky. Ndungo, good to see you. Grace, good to see you. Celestine, happy to see you. Luke, Edwin, good. Bridget, Mwad, awesome. The first page is almost full. MK, good to see you. Michael, Anthony, good to see you. One more. There's some people just, the moment you're done with taking screenshots, that's when they turn on video. We know them. The moment you're saying, yeah, now we're done, that is when they say. So I'm taking the first one because I don't want people to get muscle pull on their faces as they try to smile. Okay, good. So also face that. Let's put on a smile. Face your camera so that you don't look at your screen. Face your camera screen. Okay, I'm taking the first page. Good. Thanks so much for those smiles. Just know you might not know which page you are in, so continue smiling. There's some people who are supposed to be. Yes, I can take a couple of it here. I can take the other page, and I'd said I'd not take names, but I'll have to take for some of you because of that. And then I'll share with you. Thank you so much. The screenshots, hopefully, let me just confirm they are saved somewhere so that in case have you ever told someone you've done the job and you're done, and then when you go click the link some few minutes before the meeting, you realize that you needed to request access. It has ever happened to me. And then I had to say I was what? I had the access before, but I can see I have this. I think I have the screenshots. I have two of them. You can see. Let me just confirm it's the one. Yeah. Yeah, it should be the one. Thank you. I have two pages. Let me do the last page. Yep, the last page. I would think I was supposed to do this page, but I don't know why the page 2 and 3 looks the same. But yeah, I think that is it. Thank you so much. In case there's anything, feel free to reach out. Ro, Effie, and Akaeze, we really want to thank you. I don't have words. I know I have to send you a good thank you email. I'll do that. And then I'll also, by any point in time, please feel free to reach, if the members reach out to you, connect with them, and we'd be happy to see how we can continue to collaborate. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us, and
Thank
have
you
a love.
too.
Yes, Ro. Yeah.
No. So thank you.
Yeah, sure. Let's make it happen. Effie, I know this is like one of your first few speaking engagements, and you nailed it, done an awesome job. Kosi, you made it as if it's like if it felt like a grand parent talking to kids. You give us all the hard bombs. And yeah, you've done it. You've all done it well. You've made a reInvent recap like no other, with demos that bring those service announcements to life. We can't thank you enough. And this one could not have happened without our members. That is you, all of you. We had picked at around almost 65, 70 people. We had over 180 RSVPs, which means that people really want to hear from and every one of you. And with that said, let's wish the best for Nigeria tonight. Let's not let it be a North American final. I mean, North African final with
Yeah,
the Algerians and the Moroccans and everything. So let's wish Nigeria all the best tonight. And easy. Okay, nice
thank you.
time. Bye bye. See you soon. Thank you.